What is going on, team? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to the day. And we are coming live in here with another episode of the podcast. So we're going to be cracking into this one, guys, in the next 2 minutes. So if you are coming in, would love to see your names in the comments. Let us know that you're here. And of course, if you do end up watching on replay, please let us know that you've been here to get some goods. So we're going to start this in 2 minutes, team. Letting this stream across to our client Facebook groups and then all of our normal places. How's it going, guys? What's the scoop of the morning? Workout has been done. Feeling strong. Coaching sessions underway. Feeling great after yesterday's mini workshop inside the coaching calls. Lots of great messages that have come back from that. So thanks so much to everyone for getting involved. And hopefully you got some value there and a few penny drop moments. So my brothers and sisters, we're going to fire this up in just 2 minutes. And so this is going to be, I think, possibly maybe one of the most profound podcasts that I've done on this channel. Where it stands in relation to the global world of podcasts, probably not that important. But I think this one will really hit if you stick around for the duration. So let us know that you're coming in live. Hello, Tez. Good morning, mate. 5 years on. Still the first one. I hope you're having a beautiful start to the morning, Tez. Now, if you watch this on replay, guys, you know what to do. Hashtag replay into the comments so that we know that you've been here and got the juice. And let us know if you are here. I don't know if my comments are not firing in the women's group, and they don't seem to be. I've mentioned this numerous times before. Facebook just makes it really hard to connect streams anymore inside of Facebook groups, but that's okay. We'll battle on anyway. So, guys, we're going to start this up in 30 seconds, and then we are ready to rock and roll. So what I'm going to do is bring in our crew on Instagram. We are live everywhere else. And then we'll rock and roll. So here we are with another episode of the podcast. Now, if you're watching live on Instagram and you want to know more about our program, simply send me the message, transform, and we can have a bit of a chat to you about how it works. All right, let's get started, guys, on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets, the stupid fucking diets, and the unrealistic workout programs. Now, what we're going to be talking about in this workshop is the concept of weight loss being simple. I'm going to guarantee you that if you make it through the majority of this podcast, it's going to give you a complete reframe on the whole weight loss thing. Here's the thing, right? I did a super beefy workshop inside of one of our coaching calls yesterday, just talking about calorie management. And I got a number of messages after that, basically saying, whoa, I've never really thought about weight loss like that. And loads of pennies have dropped. And so that's really what we try to do in Better Body Academy. We try to simplify things. So let's just get straight stuck into this. I make the statement all the time that weight loss is simple. It's dead simple. Now, if you've struggled with your weight for all of your life, or at least the last decade, you're probably thinking when I say weight loss is simple, your probably gut instinct is to go, fuck off, mate. You don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. And I would totally understand that. When I say simple, what I mean is that the science of weight loss is simple. The fitness industry just makes it like so fucking confusing, but it's irrefutable. Your weight at any point in time is determined by an ongoing balance between your calories going in and the calories that you're burning on a daily basis. And if you understand not just calorie balance, but what makes up the calories that you burn on a daily basis, which we're not going to go into in this podcast, you'll understand that this law of calorie management is actually really all that matters. Yet people still refute it. The fact is, If you want to lose body weight or just body as a whole, you need to have a deficit of calories that are going in relative to the deficit of calories that are going out. And the only way to actually get on top of that in the short term is to change what you're sticking in your pie hole. Right? I'm just going to tell you that straight away. If you're using exercise to try to outrun what you're putting in your pie hole, you're not going to make it. This means stop drinking the liquid calories and eating more real foods. The most basic advice that I could give you as a university qualified dietitian is you've got to stop drinking liquid calories. And I don't mean just alcohol. I mean any form of liquid calories, because they don't fill you up. And the second thing is you got to eat more real food. That pretty much just sums it up. When your body is in a position where it's running out of available fuel, it has to call upon its own stores to keep it alive. This is why I say that weight loss is simple. Weight loss is simple, but it's not easy. Many things are like this. Going for a walk is fucking simple. Stand up, walk. Not much to it. Drinking more water is ridiculously simple. Walk to the tap, get water, drink it. Having a hard and much needed conversation with someone important in your life is really, really simple. Approach said person, open mouth, flap gums. It's very simple. But why can't everyone walk more, drink more water, and have more hard conversations? Because simple is not easy. And this is what I want to talk about in this podcast. Simple is not easy. And that's because there is a difference between knowing and doing. Doing requires effort and sacrifice. Fucking doesn't it what? Even something as simple as going to sleep. Give me like a silent head nod or let me know in the comments if you really struggle with your sleep. Going to sleep is simple. Some people find it extremely fucking hard because there's a payoff, right? And let's face it, aside from the menopausal hot flushes and the anxiety-driven head fucks that are going on in your mind that make sleeping hard, the act of sleeping is very simple. Lay down. Extremely simple. But I find it extremely hard. If I go to bed, I lose time to work on my mission, my business, my podcast, my relationship. For you, sleep might be hard for the same reasons, or it also might be hard because it means not enjoying time with your partner or watching Netflix. It might be that going to bed now means less dopamine scrolling. So by doing the thing, there's a payoff. Sleeping is simple as fuck. Going to bed and going to sleep is hard. Do you see the difference? Every decision has a benefit and a payoff. If you've ever heard of the Law of Polarity, you will know what this is. I'll just keep this super simple. Everything, every choice, every decision we make, whether we realize it or not, has a benefit and it has a cost. So what's the benefit? The benefit is what you gain of doing the thing, the good. And then there's the bad or the cost that comes with doing the thing, the risk. For example, let's just say you choose to work out today. How many of you have worked out today? If you choose to work out today, this gives you better health. That's a benefit. But it costs you time and energy. That's a payoff. If you flip it up the other way, choosing to skip the workout gives you more free time. But the payoff is that your progress might be slower. So if you can recognize this, it makes the decision-making process a little bit clearer because you can say at any one point in time, like whether I do these things, there's a benefit and there's a cost, and which is more important to me at the moment. If you can make that decision consciously. But the reality is the decisions that we make every day, how many of us are waking up in Australia right now? It's just after 6 o'clock in the morning and we're getting up and doing what we've always done. We're having a shower, having a coffee, going to work, having some breakfast, going to work, doing the same thing, repeat, 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 repeat. So it's not a conscious decision. It just happens automatically. When you decided to get married, as an example, hopefully you made a conscious decision to get married. Like you actually wanted to marry the person you married. The fact that you committed to spending the rest of your life, in theory, with that one person was on balance. I'm assuming you thought about this for a while, like I did, was on balance more beneficial than costly, right? Who you choose to spend your time with, that should be more beneficial than costly. Otherwise, why would you do it? In fact, it was probably the most well thought decision of your life, well thought through decision of your life. Yet, even with a huge amount of conscious thinking about, is this the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, we still make mistakes. 30 to 40% of marriages end in divorce. And this is when a person has all the time to think about the pros and cons, and even being able to make a conscious decision, we still get it wrong 30 to 40% of the time. Can you imagine how that skyrockets? How many things you're getting wrong when you're not actually making the decision consciously? When you're just doing it because you've always done it. It's a habit. You've always done that way. Think about all the decisions that you're making or not making over the course of a day that you're not even thinking about, that you're doing. Is there a possibility that with conscious thought, we get 30 to 40% wrong? So it'd probably mean that at least half of the decisions we make on a daily basis are probably fucking us up. I've got 4 questions for you to ponder. How many decisions are you making in a day out of just habit, without thinking, without conscious thoughts? Next, how many of those decisions are you making without realizing the full cost or implications of the decision? As an example, just deciding not to go to the gym in itself doesn't really matter. But is there a lingering effect there on your self-confidence, your trust with yourself? Third question is like, what are those decisions actually costing you in terms of your life, your money, lost time, both now and in the future? And if you had known earlier, would you have done something about them to start sooner? So let's run an example here. Let's say that you've eaten unhealthfully for the last, like eaten shit for the last 10 years. And as a consequence of eating shit, because you were busy and all the life things, you gained weight. Question, was it a conscious choice to eat bad? Like, did you go, I'm just going to eat shit now? Or was it just kind of, you weren't thinking about it and you were busy and you didn't really know any better? And then all of a sudden you woke up one day 10 years later and you're 20 pounds heavier, 20 kilos heavier. Did you eat bad food without knowing that, fuck, if I did this, I didn't realize that I was going to gain 20 kilograms and it was going to give me insulin resistance and diabetes, which is very common. What does it cost your quality of life, your mental health, your financial capacity, not being able to do things with your kids, things that you love to do? If you had known earlier, now with the benefit of hindsight, would you go back and speak to a younger version of yourself and say, fuck, man, you got to do this sooner? As in, you regret not starting sooner. So back to the point of weight loss being simple, maybe you might have made those decisions earlier, but it was simple to just keep doing things as you have. Simple, but not easy, because easy in the short term, simple in the short term usually means hard in the long term. When people say, Jace, it's not all about calories in versus calories out. Well, scientifically it is. If you strip away all the emotions and the stress and the trauma and all the bullshit that goes with weight loss, it actually is that easy. It's like you don't create matter out of nothing. You don't create fat flesh out of thin air. it gets created because there's too many calories coming in. It's as simple as that. But the complication of weight management is that it requires both awareness. Fuck, like I didn't realize that I was eating all the wrong stuff. I was eating fucking olive oil and nuts and avocado by the tin, and I just didn't realize it had all these calories in it. So it requires a level of both knowing and discipline, which is doing, and that's hard. The discipline piece is so fucking hard for so many reasons. You can want to do something, you can know that you should do something, but just not do it, right? There's nothing wrong with you. That's the majority of us, and myself for many areas included. The discipline piece is hard, and the reason it's hard is because you've got so many things competing for your time and attention. You, like me, are emotional and get stressed and get bored for different times during your week. Often all of them at the same fucking time. And your willpower is not unlimited. Have you noticed whenever you want willpower, it's never there? Our brain rewards us with a guaranteed dopamine hit every time we eat something sweet, right? If we smash ourselves with Ben and Jerry's at the end of the day, we know that we'll temporarily feel some pleasure. And at a period of your life, after making these decisions where you had short-term pleasure, but then regretted it after it, what happens? You gradually learn to distrust yourself, and you lack what we call self-belief. You don't trust yourself to get outside of your comfort zone anymore because you've made a constancy of these decisions which brought short-term pleasure, but you regretted them after it because you felt like, fuck, that wasn't the right decision to make. And your self-esteem has been eroded. And on top of that, everyone has that, just like that, the fuck it switch. The switch that's just like, fuck it, I'm tired. I'm just going to drink 10 beers. You just like get to a Friday and you're like, you know what? I've had enough of life and the world. Fuck it. I get it. We call that self-sabotage. What I'm trying to go to here is to say that weight loss is very, very, very simple. It's so simple that if you can stop being confused about all this crap that you hear and actually just understand that it comes down to eating less calories and working out ways to keep your calorie burn up. And I'll guarantee you it's not through doing cardiovascular training. Okay. But then let's take a step back and ask, well, if it's so simple, why is everyone so overweight and struggling? Because it's simple, but it's not easy, because it requires you to not just know, it requires you to do. Ask yourself a question. Anyone that's tuning into this podcast for any amount of time cares somewhat about their health. Otherwise, why would you click it? What are you actually chasing? Like, what are you actually, when you think about it, when you think about whether you're in Better Body Academy or you're just tuning into this because you're like, what's this guy talking about? What do you actually want in your life? Freedom? Freedom to do a career that you like, have a bit more money, have good health, right? Have a good relationship with your friends. To me, that's freedom. If you look at your body in the mirror and you feel like a person that's the real you is trapped inside a body or a mindset that's not the real you, and it's this fucking struggle and you feel trapped, is that how you feel? Do you feel fucking trapped? It's like being locked up in jail. You're not free to do the things you want to do in your life. You might think that freedom means I can eat the fuck whatever I want. So many people say to me, Jace, like, don't you just want to fucking lash out, like, and just be free? I think that this is a very one-dimensional view of freedom, right? Is that actually freedom? Or is that just short-term pleasure? For example, like, sorry, girls, I can have a whack and that's going to give me pleasure, it's not going to give me happiness or freedom. Your friends might say to you, dude, don't you just want to eat whatever the fuck you want? You only live once, man. Yeah, sometimes I do. And sometimes I just do that. But that's not freedom. That's not lasting. So what you're actually chasing is freedom. Don't confuse freedom with pleasure. Pleasure's cool, but pleasure's also a trap. It doesn't bring freedom or happiness. Pleasure is okay as long as it doesn't swallow freedom. For example, I haven't had a proper alcoholic drink in 6 months, yet I'm going to be in Bali in a month and I can't wait to have a beer with a couple of my friends and my sister. Like it's going to be really fun with the girls that are coming to the women's retreat in the Hunter Valley. I can't wait to have a wine with you guys. But I recognize that that's pleasure. That's not happiness or freedom. Happiness is spending time with people that you like. Having a drink does not bring freedom and bring long-term pleasure, long-term happiness. My freedom is having a business and a mission that I absolutely fucking love being part of. Loving my clients. I have love for my family. I love my body. I love my fucking life. That is freedom. And if you keep exchanging short-term pleasure for long-term freedom, you're going to need to expect constant long-term pain. You'll never be happy. You'll never be free. It's the law of polarity. So, like a bit of a kind of esoteric podcast perhaps today, how the hell do you progress then? Like, if you do feel trapped, right? If you do really feel like stuck in a body that it's like, man, shouldn't be me. Like I shouldn't feel like this. If you're stuck with no energy, if you're stuck in a relationship that's just in bits, what can you actually do to get untrapped? Because at the end of the day, I can talk to the fucking cows come home, but what do you do about it? How do you actually make progress? My advice, and I'm not necessarily, my opinion's just my opinion. My advice is you've got to be really good at taking messy action and starting to work on yourself before you're ready and before it feels comfortable. Now, that might sound cliched, but you just got to start. I want you to write this down as maybe a takeaway of this podcast. Feelings follow action. It's a very simple but profound phrase for me. Feelings follow action. If you're waiting to get motivated to start your transformation, if you're waiting to get motivated to rewrite your CV to get a new job, if you're trying to motivate yourself to have a conversation that's needed to be had for the last 5 years with your partner because your relationship sucks, if you're waiting to be motivated to do it, you've got it the wrong way round. The motivation comes as a consequence of you doing it. If you're waiting to feel successful before you've actually fucking done anything, you're fucking deluded. There's no other way to put it. You just got to start. You just got to do something, literally anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You just got to start. And when you mess it up in the first day, week, month, it doesn't matter. Who cares? When your son or daughter was learning to walk or learning to toilet train and they shit their pants and you're like, oh man, but what did you do? Wipe it off and start again. Try again tomorrow. Go for a walk. Stop drinking for a week. Tell your partner you love them. Just do something. The feeling of success and motivation will follow from you taking action. Does this make sense, guys? So when we're sitting here worrying, like we're looking at all these YouTube videos and TikTok videos and scrolling Instagram, trying to look for hacks in fat loss. Oh, fuck, it's so confusing. This influencer changes with this influencer. It's like, who is right? Guys, the underpinning principle is very simple. It's very simple. There's many applications of the principle, but the application of calories in, calories out is the simplest and most irrefutable component of weight loss. But what makes it hard is all the noise, all the emotions, all the past trauma, the fact that you're trying to do it on your own. If we can simplify it and be willing to just take that first step, just take the little bit of messy action, what's going to happen is you're going to learn to start trusting yourself again. For the first time in your life, you're going to go, huh, I did something that was really outside of my comfort zone, and I followed through and I did it. And then I did it again the next day. And then I had a day off because I slept in, but then I did it again the next day. And just like if your partner came to you and he or she said, you know what, like, I'm going to be here for you every day of the week. I'm going to be here. You turn around, I'm going to be there. It builds trust in your relationship. You know that you can lean into your partner and they always support you. That also applies to yourself. If every time you say you're going to do something hard, you're going to exercise some discipline, and you turn around and you're not there to support yourself, what happens? You learn to distrust yourself. Your confidence sways. Your self-esteem gets destroyed. And then you can't follow through on anything because we're waiting to feel successful before we've actually done the thing. Done it hard. Done it messy. Does this make sense, guys? This has been the Better Body Academy podcast. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Okay, so team, I haven't got comments. So, hey, Instagram, what's going on? I hope you're around. Look, I'm happy to answer any more questions on this, guys. And good morning to everyone that's watching this live. Ladies, in our women's group, for some reason, my comments are not appearing on the page, so I can't see if you've written anything. But does this hit, like, it's this idea, what I'm trying to, hey, I've got the comments. Okay, so what I'm trying to communicate here is that, like, if you are to scroll Instagram and you look at it and it's just like it's a mind fuck. Like, it's a mind fuck for me. And I've got a 4-year degree in this shit. And I look at it and I'm like, I'm confused. Should I fast? Should I not fast? Should I eat high protein or eat high fat? Do keto or carnivore? Like, all these fucking confounding opinions. If I'm confused, you guys must be confused. Surely. So the goal here is just to make the point. Calorie balance, if you're struggling with your weight, it comes down to an imbalance in your calories, not necessarily now, but leading up to this point in time. You might have started eating well over the last month, but up until this point in time, you've accumulated body fat because this fundamental principle has worked in that you are taking in more than you're burning. What type of food? It doesn't matter. That's what's happened. You've created mass, tissue, you've created body, you've created human out of the fact that your body went, well, I've got more than I need, so I'm just going to store this. That is the fundamental principle. So now we know that, right? We've got to step back and go, okay, what's stopping me from acting? Do I not have a strategy? If you don't have a strategy, you got to get a strategy. That's the first thing. And I would suggest the simplest strategy that you can actually take is the one that requires the least amount of time. And it's going to give you the biggest bang for buck. That is changing what you eat. The most simplest way to change what you eat is stop eating from packets. That's the major thing. It's very difficult to overeat normal, natural foods. So if you can start there and then maybe just like cut out the liquid calories, the juices, the overuse of alcohol and soft drinks. Those two things will almost take care of everything in weight loss. Just those two things. Shaq says, I can't believe how simple it is once you know what you're doing and sticking to it. Shaq, that's exactly the point I'm making. And I think that we've kind of got our blinders on not because there's something wrong with you. It's like, you're not a fuck up, right? There's nothing genetically wrong with you. You might have something like low thyroid, which makes it a little bit more challenging. You might have low testosterone, which makes it harder. all of these things. Like, and Tammy's in here saying, I needed to hear this today. I had a major spiral last night. Okay, so let's talk about this idea, Tammy. So Tammy's one of our clients and she's fucking awesome, by the way, right? She's been doing so well. But as a consequence of this, Tam, if you become the failure, right? If you take, okay, you like had a binge on some ice cream or whatever, like who cares? You are a normal, flawed human like you and me and everyone else here. We're all flawed. We're all fuck ups. We're all a work in progress. So now we know that we can take away the guilt and shame and start acting from a place of guilt and shame. And we can go, you know what? Like, I'll just start again today. Easy. Start again today. Press the big dirty reset button and start again today. And guess what happens when you start again today? You forget yesterday and it doesn't matter. And then you get 2 days together and you build your confidence. And that's how you move forward. Alternatively, what you could do, Tammy, is you could say, so here's the way to think about it. Your identity, Tammy, the person Tammy, had an experience which was she fucked up, right? What most people do, let's see if I can kind of get this across. There's 20 girls watching on live, another 20 people on Instagram. Let's see if I can make this point, right? Here is where people go wrong. I'm Tammy or Paul, it doesn't matter. I'm Tammy or Paul. I'm a human. That's my identity. I fucked up and had a blowout or got drunk or whatever the experience was, right? We become the experience. Tammy says, I fucked up, so I am a fuck up. You get it? I experienced depression, so I am a depressed person. I suffer from levels of low motivation, so I am an unmotivated person. No, you are who you are and you're experiencing certain feelings from time to time. You've got to cut off from you are not your feelings is the point that I'm trying to make. You're not your feelings. So if you can separate your feelings from your identity, for example, right? I'm an everyday guy that is just like you and loves my family and right. If I become my coaching, if I become my workouts, if I become the confidence that I feel about my body, if I become all of those things, then what happens when those things go south when I'm fucking 80 years old? Then what? I'm fucked because my identity is based on my feelings. So when we bust it up, when we mess it up, guys, like even spending this much time on it almost overemphasizes the point. It's like, dude, just dust your fucking knees off and do exactly what you did with your kiddos, right? When you realize that you're 2 months into just like drinking every weekend and then you have the realization, the awareness, and you're like, why am I actually doing this? Don't feel sorry for yourself. Do something different. Once you get the awareness and it's like the light turns on in the dark room and you go, shit, no wonder I'm putting on weight, right? Oh, no wonder I haven't been to the gym in 2 months, whatever it is for you, right? Once you become aware of it, that's like a whole nother level of like spirituality, I guess you'd call it, that is now existing in your life. So many people come into Better Body Academy and they say this to me. They say, like, I don't even know how your Facebook group helped me change. It's like that statement, right? I'll tell you how. It is because we've given you some simple tools. If you just show up to podcasts like this, a community like this, and you are a part of it, like that, the information that's in the circle starts to slowly permeate into your brain. When you've heard it enough times, as Kylie's saying, you heard it enough times, it becomes a habit. And you might not ever have a six-pack, but that's not a representation of freedom. Having a six-pack's not a representation of freedom. Having a peach ass is not a representation of freedom. Being able to do shit in your life and love yourself, feel confident, That's that's an expression of freedom that you can't buy with money. Now, once that starts to take hold, everything starts to change in your life. You start to earn more money. Your relationships start to improve. Your confidence, you just don't care about people's opinion. You don't let it hit you. You hear it, but you don't let it become you. It's like, I don't like you. For example, one of you guys might watch this and just think this guy's a fucking idiot. Okay, cool. I don't care. It literally does not worry me. Whereas other people would take that on board and be like, oh fuck, well, what's wrong? You become internally fortified against the shit that's coming up in your life. Does that make sense? Team, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hopefully it's beneficial. If you are a beautiful woman and you are in our academy and there's 20 of you still watching on live, in 25 minutes from now, Carly and Erin are starting a women's coaching call, and you should definitely be on that call. So if you get an opportunity to come and join it and you haven't been to a coaching call this week, that's where you go. And it's the exact same link as all the other calls that we do. Guys, peace. I'll see you guys soon.